Welcome back, everybody, to another Pushing the Pace podcast with myself, Elias. As always, I am joined by my co-host Samuel. Today, on a very tired night, we are here to talk some good, some bad, some constructive criticism, and some excitement for the future. We are going to be having a discussion about the whole tanking situation, which before was just a media, just storm of what different solutions here and there, and now Shams and the NBA have really looked into some actual solutions or potential things that we'll talk about. And then we're going to have a draft. We're going to be we're pushing some more positivity, not only pushing the pace, but pushing the positivity. We're looking forward to some of our potential favorite matchups for the rest of the season, to end this season, which I think will be very fun. I know me and you, Sam, we're both very tired. Team Canada lost today in hockey. You know, the one game I watch of hockey all year ends in a 3-on-3 in overtime. That's just a ridiculous rule. I don't know who came up with that. But yeah, man. All right. Well, we'll just start off with the tanking. So basically, Shams tweeted on February 19th, basically a week after everybody had already made their podcast about tanking and all that, after the Utah Jazz had a pretty egregious few games where they, on purpose, did not let Jaren Jackson Jr. and Larry Markin and their starters play in multiple fourth quarters in games where they had leads in the third quarter. Their stars did not play in the fourth quarter, leading to losses. And their coach, I remember in one of the press conferences, he was asked something like, "Why didn't you put them back in?" And he was like, "Did you ever think about putting them back in?" And he was just straight up like, "No, I did not." Not even entertaining it. Made it very clear what they were there to do. And that was enough to spark a whole tanking controversy that now Adam Silver informed the league's 30 general managers this past Thursday that the NBA plans to make anti-tanking rule changes for next season. Stakeholders have intensified dialogue about combating tanking. I think personally that this has kind of been blown up to be a bit more than what it is because of this draft class being so good, being potentially so good, the tank and some of the bad teams have just been really bad, and some of the teams that are just like mediocre to good, like the Grizzlies, a Jazz, whatnot, are scrambling to try and get more losses to get their real star player. What's your opinion about it? Because I think that some of these changes are a bit extreme, and I think we're kind of missing the point a little bit with the whole tanking discussion.
When you say missing the point, I think the general consensus, I think if you poll most NBA fans, will be about product, right? To be about the product we're showing on the court. And so obviously it's blown up because this happened, not because a lot of the general no, how many people were watching the Utah Jazz game? That's
Yeah.
right. How many
Wait,
people
that is really funny because nobody was watching that game in the first
who,
place. So
who
it's
was
like, who
watching that
cares?
game, right? So who cares? But it's more of just there's an image the NBA is getting, right? There's an image the NBA is getting. I literally was having to defend the NBA with my friend who's here and all, because he was like, "Oh, bad product, bro, bad product, bro." And I was like, obviously making my case. And we talked about this during the All-Star break, which was what Wemby did for the All-Star break and stuff like that. And I think blown out of proportion for what Utah Jazz did, yes, because this is not the first time that has been done. It's been done several times and all. The only thing is, it's like it's more like just a compilation of just what's been happening the past year. It's like the past years. It's like this really like became a topic that was very serious during the Philadelphia era,
Hmm.
trust the process, right?
Yeah.
And nothing was really done to quell it and all, and people just the NBA just lets that go. And we even see fans being happy to lose because they're like, why you guys are trying to win? Why are these players trying to win? Why are they trying? And all. So I just think is it blown out of proportion because of the situation? Yes, but I think it's blown out of proportion because of the ample times this has happened. and how it relates to the fact that I'm sure the NBA office hears the noise, they hear everything that is happening regarding the product, the products, the
Yeah.
products, the products, the product. Like it's not a good product and all. So when tanking is now the next thing that is on the news cycle,
Hmm.
and something that's just been piling up for years and all, you're just going to have a league office that thinks that they need to do something about it and all. And yes, I don't think fans deserve like look at these tickets, man. Look at I'm just talking about fans. Look at these tickets. Like look at how much tickets are to go to these games and all. And you guys are going out there to purposely not play players to win
Hmm.
a game, right? If I'm a Utah Jazz kid that grew up in Salt Lake and everything, only one thing I'm thinking about is the Utah Jazz winning. If I'm a Jazz fan, right? So I may not know the nuance. Think about the fan that doesn't know the nuance of where the top fourth protected pick, blah blah blah, or
Yeah.
with or in the apron. I just pay tickets to go watch my team win, and to now for my team to actually purposely remove players to lose because they are scared that those players can win is so crazy to
Yeah.
think of, right? Because of lottery odds and all.
Hmm.
So I think some of the suggestions in the list that was put out, I like, and I'm sure we're going to discuss about those suggestions.
For sure, for sure. I think my main idea of it is that I feel like there's a real difference between a bad team and a tanking team. I feel like what the Utah Jazz have done is like a very deliberate act of trying to lose games in the moment versus teams that are bad, like the Sacramento Kings, like the Pelicans. Most people wouldn't say they're tanking; they just suck. They just do not have a good team. They don't have enough good players to
Mhm.
put out a team that can win on a regular basis. But they are a team that is in the most desperate need of new talent and draft talent and all that. And these type of changes, I feel like are hurting the teams that are like bad because they are just bad versus teams that
But
are
when are this team gonna get
deliberately
when are this team gonna get good?
well, you would hope eventually lottery luck would hit their way, but I feel like in the past several seasons we've seen teams like the Wizards and the Pistons a few times where they are projected for a top 4 pick. They have a 50% chance to drop out of the top 4 to be a top 5 or to be number 5. The Wizards were last year, they got the number 5 pick. The Pistons had their 28 game losing streak and then they got rewarded the 5th pick for it. So I think that there is a real difference between teams that are deliberately trying to lose games versus teams that are bad,
But
and they're all
why do we want to reward bad teams?
well, it's a matter of like, you know, it's like inevitable. There is no season in the NBA where there's not going to be no bad
Yeah,
teams,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So I think that the most natural way to help these teams is through the draft and is through getting young players. And when a Sacramento Kings team like this season is losing 16 games in a row and would desperately need a top 4
Have
pick
they
or
lost
something like
16
that.
games in a row?
Yeah, they have, which is a franchise record for them. I know it's so crazy. And they have Sabonis and Zach Levine, and they traded for DeAndre Hunter, and he's like, "Do you need eye surgery? We'll give you eye surgery." And all of these guys are out for legitimate reasons, health reasons. But this is a team. If they drop to the 5th pick, which they have about a 50-50 chance to either stay in the top 4 or be number 5. If they drop to the 5th pick, next season it will be exactly the same and maybe even worse.
So when did they so they're going to so you're going to lose this season. Then next season, let's say you get a fifth pick, then you're losing again the next season. Then we have to wait till you get a we the product sorry the league has to wait till you get a top 3 or top like what like so are we saying the league should hand you over this franchise player so you guys get better or
I feel like
I think
not a
also
handover, but I
also
feel like it's been a bit I don't really like the flattening of the lottery odds, like the fact that a Spurs or your Mavericks were able to jump up with a 1% chance. I feel like that has really hurt like the true bottom dwellers of the league in that sense. But in another way, I do agree with the product. But I feel like as a fan, that you know when your team is bad, you know your team is bad. But there is obviously a difference when you see your team deliberately losing games in an egregious way like that. Um, yeah, but
I,
I you
I
know
I think I don't have an answer because I think my own answer or my own solutions are more drastic, which the NBA would never do. But
like what?
there's there's the there's just the privilege or I won't say privilege. Is it privilege? I mean, yeah, probably privilege of. I think one of the things that's happening is the privilege of we have 30 teams and we have 30 teams. We have 30 teams and these are the 30 teams and nothing's going to happen. We're going to remain in this league. We're going to share in the same pie
Mm,
because I think, I think if you have a system, a relegation system, you guys are going to figure out how to get good quickly. You figure
mhm,
out how to get good quickly because if I tell you the last two teams in each conference gets relegated to whatever league, right? And you are going to miss out on X number of pie that the NBA is going to give you as a team and about this revenue and all this type of things. I'm sure you are going to you are going to start hiring better coaches, start hiring better this thing, start developing your players better, start doing so many things better, start showing up, start actually winning. And I feel you get more, you are getting a better product of a team that is still trying to be like, we need to not be 14 and 15 and we need to try to win every possible game,
yeah,
right? It doesn't mean we're going to win every possible, but that effort each day on the court, because even though they're a bad team, right? You're going to have the last 10 games of the season, last 15 games where they're like, man, we're so close to the bottom. We need to come out of this. So you can imagine what those kind of games are going to be between the bottom feeders,
yeah, that's true.
right?
That's true.
Trying to stay in the league. Like this is your life. But because the NBA, and this is why I don't want to get into that because let's just focus on what we currently have.
Yeah,
But because the NBA there's this autonomy that each team has, right? Like we're just in this league. Nothing is happening. We're in this league. We're going to be
hmm
here in this. We're going to be here next week. We're going to be here next year. We're going to be here next fight. We're just in this league. I feel holistically, incentive wise, there's an incentive to lose in leagues like this, in the MLS, in North American. So there's an incentive. There's an incentive to not win as much as possible. That's why it seemed like Indiana Pacers are never going to pay out of the luxury tax on
yeah,
the guy that was in Phoenix Suns owner in the past too. Like those teams are not going to try to pay to win because we're just here. We're going to be in the middle. We're going to stay here and all, right? But if you know that, I can just imagine the value of games. Even if imagine okay, we do the playing tournament now. I genuinely believe if you are having a teams that get relegated at the end of the season and all, the last 10 games, last 15 games of teams trying to
might be
catch
the most exciting part of
might
the
be the most
season.
exciting part of the season before
Yeah,
you get to a playoffs, bro.
yeah,
So
that is interesting.
is that
Relegation is definitely a much different system than we have here. Can you, bro? The Sacramento Kings would have been in the G League, and we would have had like the damn Raptors 905 for like the last 5 years or something like that. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
obviously they would never do that. With
They'll
the
never
thing about the product on the league, it's basketball is in a weird state because like there is a lottery and this sport is one where one player can really be the whole difference. Like you can
Mhm.
just hit one time and then you'll be good. You'll never be in the lottery again. You know, like one player has that big of an impact. In football, you have like 53 different people, and you don't have a lottery. And in baseball, you have like you constantly have a bunch of prospects and whatever going through the different ranks or whatever in the MLB. In basketball, one player can really change your entire franchise and can take
Mhm.
you out of that. Um, and I think like the league has, you know, it's made it very obvious that the best way to get better is to hope that you get somebody in the draft who can really change your life. And we've seen that with, you know, the Cavaliers in the past. We've seen that with Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Obviously, the Spurs had David Robinson, but you know they never missed the playoffs when they had him. So we've seen it before, and like basketball, like one player can really change so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think let's get into these proposals, and we'll give our pros and cons for each of these because I think some of these are interesting. Some of them I'm not a fan of. The
Yeah.
first one though, first round picks can be protected only top four or top 14 plus. I don't mind this one. I think this is a good one, but however, this is like a direct shot, and there's another one in here that's like a direct shot to the Jazz or the Pacers. This is a direct shot to the Jazz because they have a top 8 protected pick. That if it's not in the top 8, it goes to OKC. So that's why the Jazz have been so desperate to lose games. And I don't mind this one because like having top
So
8, top 7, top 10 protected
so if
can
you
get
are
you in
up,
a situation like this.
so you are only first round picks can be protected only for top four or
Mhm.
top 14 plus selection. So from 1 to 14, protected.
No, so then it would only be you can only protect this first round pick as a top 4 pick. Like if it's in the top 4, we keep it, or a lottery pick, a top 14 pick. If it's in the lottery, we keep it. Or I guess plus just means like outside of that, but at that point, you know, it's outside of the lottery. People don't
So
really mind
okay, so
anyway.
each team that has top four or top 14 or lottery odds get to keep it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I like that one because it's like the Jazz, their pick is top 7 protected, and that's such like a weird zone between top 4 is like you're obviously one of the worst, and top 14 is just like we expect to be, you know, in the lottery, outside the playoffs. Those are like easy kind of ranges to keep. A top 7, top 8 can get you in this kind of middle ground where you're really fighting for every loss is, you know, increasing your decimal points to be in this, you know, range that you made up, whether it's top 7, top 10, whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that was a direct shot to the Utah Jazz, who their pick is top 7. And that's why they've been themselves fighting so hard to get it so then they can keep it and that OKC doesn't have it. So I'm
Right.
fine with that one. Next one though, lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date.
Why will it be a later date? When would that later date be? Because it's already February.
Yeah.
So
Basically, yeah, like middle of February. I don't even know, maybe after All Star or before All Star or something like that.
yeah, because for
Um,
me it's like I think
because the whole discussion about the tanking and everything is that like people have said the last couple of weeks, the last week, last 10
yes, yes,
games of
yes,
the
yes.
NBA season can be kind of rough. Either teams have locked
So
up their seed and they're not
if your
playing, or they're
team if
really
your
trying to lose.
so so the problem with that is they're just gonna lose at the start of the season.
Exactly, exactly. That's why I don't like that one either.
I,
That's why I don't like that one
I,
either because it's like,
they're just gonna lose at the start of the season.
yeah, they're just like, okay, like if
They're just gonna
we're,
lose as much as they can at the start of the season. Like it's gonna be
yeah,
tankathon from the start of the season.
yeah, like the Jazz this year, hypothetically, like we would just not play Laurie Markkinen. I'm sorry, he has an injury. You know, he hurt his ankle the week before the season starts, so now
Or
he has to not play for 2 months.
he hurt his ankle in Euro basketball because there was Euro basketball.
Exactly. So we're just
Literally,
being precautious, and then we
yeah,
lose the first 10 games,
yeah.
and then there we go. It doesn't matter.
I don't know what that does
Yeah,
because they're just gonna.
it doesn't do anything in my
I don't think it
opinion.
does anything. Yeah,
I
it's
think
just gonna
it's
be.
the
It's
same
gonna.
problem.
It's gonna be the same problem. Okay, after the later dates and all, what does he really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think because a lot of people like have said about how the Jazz's tanking started like very early February, which it did. It started like, you know, 2 weeks ago they did this. And usually the real egregious tanking happens end of March, April. So I think that's what, you know, got people really panicked about this. But this like you said, it would only just make teams want to lose at the beginning of the season, and at that point, that's yeah, an even worse look than at the end of the season. The next one, no longer allowing a team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes.
I like that
Um,
one.
you like that one?
I like that one.
I
I
don't
like
know,
that one.
cause
Get your shit together, bro. You get a pick. You've gotten a top 4 pick,
but
and we're
what
still
if it's
going.
Zachary Richase?
That's your luck. You picked him. Do better. Do better. Do better in
That's
your
tough.
draft. Do better in your draft room. Do better selecting players. Do better in your like now. That's what I'm saying about the leverage, and I think it's you don't understand how it probably sips into the psyche of a team. Maybe they are not putting their gung like it's not gung ho. Maybe they're not. Maybe the level of like concentration you have to pick your future will be much serious if this is in place. And also, just going back to because they know they have a foothold in the. We're just going to be in the league. We're just going to be in the league. We're always going to be here. We're going to be here. We're the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to tank for Jalil Okafor. We're going to tank for Embiid. Embiid is not going to play again. We're going to tank for Ben Simmons.
Mhm.
We're just here. We're just here. Like we're not going anywhere. I feel that plays a certain psyche. Let now you know that you ain't getting anything for being bad.
Mhm.
You ain't getting anything for being bad next season. You've gotten your top 4 pick. Make sure you hit on it. There's a reason it's a top 4 pick. Make sure you hit on it. Make sure your organization is ready to bring this person in and all. Typically, one of the things I find a problem is how teams don't even also prepare for the draft pick, the kid they're having on their team, right? Like the person they're gonna pick, right? Oh, you know this player has certain tendencies like that. Oh, this player is gonna fit with this type of player. They don't plan for that. They're just like, there's next season. Let the guy win rookie of the year. You know, we're gonna be 18 wins, 19 wins.
Mhm.
Then we're not going to start team building for this guy initially and all. So all those things need to start being like almost fast tracked because that's there. You need to fast track it, but do it to the level of like seriousness because it's important. Because next year we're not going to get any top 4 pick.
Yeah.
Deal with it. I
This
like it.
yeah.
I
This
like
one
it.
I'm a bit more iffy on just because it feels like it's really hurting the teams that are really bad and like
We gave you a
w-
top 4 pick,
one
bro. We gave you a top 4
one
pick.
pick might not be enough. That's all I'm
Why
saying.
is it not enough? How many do you have to have?
Cuz maybe maybe that player isn't good, you know.
And that's
Maybe
your
it was a
fault.
bad pick.
That's your fault.
I guess. I
That's
mean,
your
I
fault.
suppose. I
Like it's
suppose.
you guys are the ones selecting it. You guys have all the resources. You guys are going to watch the amount of players are going. You guys know what your team needs. You guys know the current players you have. It's your fault if you cannot execute. Is there except if there's like unforeseen issues like an injury or
Yeah.
something that's like is on that you cannot control and everything and all right. But you guys, it puts teams and these general managers because what happens? We see coaches lose their jobs so much times. I actually like this so much now because general managers eye on the gun to your head now. Because typically what general managers are able to do in this league always
Mhm.
puzzle me. They almost always are given control by the owner. They just fire coach, fire coach, fire. No, now your pick. We ain't getting no pick next week. Next, we ain't getting no top 4 pick.
Mhm.
Next stuff, right? Hit on it. Hit on it.
Yeah. I suppose.
Right?
That one I feel like I still have to think about, but it's not the worst. But I feel like it could have some unforeseen um, you know, down the
Yeah.
road. Next one is teams can't pick top 4 the year after making conference finals. This is a direct
Why are they
shot
at
at the
the
Pacers,
Pacers?
bro.
But the Pacers are tanking, but it was not planned. Like they didn't want to
Yeah,
tank.
of course not. Yeah, I know. This one is kind of like a direct shot at them just because they had Halliburton go out and everything. And I mean, they
That,
obviously shouldn't be this bad, but they did have a stretch where they were injured and then they just had an egregious, they also lost 15 games in a row this season, which is crazy. Um, this one, but I mean, or like you can imagine like a team that makes it to the conference final and their player leaves or something like that, or they make a trade, they trade away their best player, and then all of a sudden, then they're in the lottery. Could be, again, like all of these things, like I've heard
Yeah.
so many people say, all of these solutions, there's
There's
people whose
always
jobs is to find a way to work around this, to
yes.
find a way where, you can make this rule change. Okay, we can do this and
What
we'll still
what do you
figure out how to
what
tank
do,
and get a better pick.
what do you think about the Rich Paul's opinion about what they should do about tanking?
What did he say again? I saw that he said
He
something,
said,
but he didn't.
make the players pick the teams.
Oh, then like some of the really bad teams would never get anybody. That's
No, but I think there has to be obviously you cannot the I think it has to be 1 to 30. It's
mhm,
1 to 30, right? So whatever drafts, whatever pick you've given out, blah 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 and stuff, cool. But the okay, if I'm the Indiana Pacers and I'm top 4 protected, one of those 4 kids have to pick the Indiana Pacers. You get what I'm trying to say? But
yeah,
now it's their decision. So
mhm,
I'm number one. I'm like, I'm going to pick the Indiana Pacers. Like your selection, if in the top 4, Indiana Pacers are top 4 protected. I don't even know how Rich Paul even explained it. I'm just thinking about how I'm just using his idea. No,
yeah,
if the Indiana Pacers are top 4 protected, if the what's the other team? If the Jazz are top 4 protected, I have to pick Indiana or Utah Jazz. So in the first 4 kids that are drafted number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4, and all, I am one. You have to pick one of these teams. I
mhm,
know. I think that's probably how it would have to work if
yeah.
you're doing it that way, right?
Mhm. It would definitely be a radical change. I believe Bill Simmons said a similar idea where it's like the top 4 teams, for example, they all make their choice of like, who would you pick if you had the number 1 pick? And it's like the teams from last year, whatever. And it's like, okay, we would all pick Cooper Flag. And it's like, okay, Cooper Flag, come out here. All of these teams said that they would choose you. Who do you want to go to now? And I mean, obviously, we would know he would probably go to the Spurs or something like that, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a
I
much more
think that
radical
that is
change,
more Bill
and it
Simmons
would
one.
really give the player empowerment. Like, I think that I don't know if most general managers or whoever league officials would ever
That is
decide on
just
a
going to
rule where
be.
they have less power to choose who's on their team, you know?
I
I
think
feel like
that's more Bill Simmons and his TV. That's just going to be TV worthy. Like it's more of a TV. Like it's gonna be so cool watching that and
yeah,
seeing this like
that's
almost
true,
like they're
that's true.
like almost like is it The Bachelors or some shit like that, right? Where
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
pick a lady or something like that. Or like all this lady said they want you, you pick who you want to go. That
Mhm.
gives me that vibe.
You
I don't
give
even
the
know.
rose or whatever, I choose you to go on a date or whatever.
I think we don't have everything in, but as I said, I think I would love relegation. But let's keep on going.
Yeah. Next one. This one is the one I actually like the most. Lottery odds are allocated based on a 2-year record. I believe I heard this is what the WNBA is doing. So your lottery odds are based on your last 2 years, and this can really help curb situations where like you're a middling team last year or like you're a good team and then this season things don't go your way and you decide, okay, we're not going to play our players, we're going to try and lose games. You lose 10 extra games and then all of a sudden you have a 10% chance to get the number 1 pick and you get it. But in this case it would account for not just this season where you tried to tank, but also last season where you were maybe a relatively good team.
So I'm just
And
going
then,
to lose 2 years in a row, Elias. That's my thing about this rule, right? I'm just going to lose 2 years in a row.
well, it's like, but maybe you don't shoot. Maybe you just are that bad. Like we've seen with a lot of these teams.
True, true.
Like you are just that bad. And in that
But this is the thing,
case,
right? The teams that are just bad are going to be joined by the team that are trying to get the best possible pick. And those ones are going to be tried to be just bad. Like
well,
that.
yeah, but like a team that is trying to tank this season, like unless they were also doing that last season, their record last season would make their percentage like they would have a lower percent chance to get a top
But
pick,
okay,
you
my
know?
question for you is what would have stopped the Utah Jazz from just doing what they've done last? this season and
Well,
last season.
I mean nothing, because they've been kind of doing the same thing every single season.
And that's why this one doesn't do anything for me, because these teams are just going like what's this? This is what the Philadelphia Sixers did in the trust the process thing,
Yeah.
right? They just didn't know what they didn't like. They would just lose as long as they need to lose, bro. That's how I feel about this.
Once a loser, you just stay a loser.
They're just going to stay losing. Like the fact that teams are just going to be like, oh, bets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're just going to keep. Yeah, I love the next one though. I love the next one.
I don't like the next one.
Why?
The
Those
next
teams are
one
trying
is
to win.
the next one is lottery is extended to include all play-in teams.
Yes. Playing teams are trying to win and get into the playoffs. Those are the winning teams. Why are we not trying to reward the teams that not those winning teams, sorry, the teams that are trying to win, that trying to be better?
But like you could imagine like a team that is trying to win, like the Wizards this year. They're trying to they're putting out, their youngest player, whatever. They don't go into the season obviously off the bat that we're going to tank. They obviously know they're probably not going to win that many games, but they're not trying to lose from the very start. If like these middling teams or these playing teams get rewarded for being middling, like you can imagine the Chicago Bulls. If the Chicago Bulls get rewarded for being 41-41 every year, or like 35 and 50 whatever every year, like versus a team that desperately needs like actual help and has made moves to get worse in an attempt to get better for the future in the long run, um I think that a team like that should be rewarded more so than a team that has been like, you know I think I've mentioned before, like
Okay, I have a
one of the
question.
worst.
I have a
Okay.
question. Sorry, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the Utah Jazz to be rewarded with a
Mhm.
pick or the Miami Heat this past few years?
um I think the Jazz, just because like it would finally help them to stop being where they are. I think the Miami Heat, the worst place you can be is directionless. Like that's why
But
people have really.
a big time pick, getting a top 4 pick is going to get them to the direction.
I know, but it's almost like they just walked into it and weren't.
But the Jazz are just losing.
I mean, yeah, but that's just the nature of the sport and the way the lottery works. You get rewarded for losing, and I think
That can never be well for a product, bro. A product that people are spending their money for, like money, like this is people's pockets.
yeah,
The Miami Heat have a good coaching staff, a good setting system. Okay, they are not good enough. They are mid. They're average right now. And but what we potentially have a chance of adding AJ DeBastin into this now. Like, why would I not want that organization to? Yes, they are mid. I don't disagree, but
yeah,
why should it be the Utah Jazz that are just losing and also being a bad like the integrity of the sports is in jeopardy? I find Miami a team that is not trying to disintegrate the product. They're just not that good. So
yeah,
why should I reward this team that is losing and doing all this crap to lose and all? And that's why I'm not saying it's a bad answer, because I get why they're incentivized to do that, right? And I
yeah.
get where you're coming from. I'm just like, it's crazy that we're having a discussion of like, let's reward the team that is losing. You know?
I mean, yeah, but like, what else is there to like? They can either like make trades, which they did this year, but like they can't really trade for a real game changer like that. You can't trade for. Well, I mean, you could trade for a Luka apparently, but you can't trade for a Shea or whatever these top players in the league, a Cade or an Ant or whatever. Like those players, you like, especially in like a small market team like the Jazz, the Wizards, the Hornets, whatnot. These teams are never gonna get free agents assigned to them. making a big time trade in which they're able to get this star player is going to require them to, get, hollow out most of whatever team they have. Most of the time, it won't be worth it. So you end up with the draft,
I have
and
a
the
question.
draft rewards right now. It rewards you for being bad because it believes that it will be able to, share the wealth with the bad team so that one day they will not be bad. But
One
I
day,
think one day they will not be bad. And I just think that, honestly, I think that the flattening of the lottery odds, like, it used to be that the number one worst seed had a 25% chance to get the first overall. And then after that, it was like 17 or 18, whatever.
mm-hmm.
Now it's like the top four is 14. Then there's a team that's 10%. Then there's a team that's 7% chance. I think we've seen like every single year somebody has jumped into the top four, which is exciting. It's fun, a Pelicans get Zion, a Dallas, one in a miracle chance. He planned it all along. Get a Cooper Flag. The, like those teams, Zion should be going to one of the really bad teams to help them turn around.
He went
Because,
to one of the really bad teams, bro. And what has he done, bro?
well, no, but the Pelicans, well, yeah, but when they made the AD trade, they weren't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, think about it this way, right? The goal, the
Mhm.
goal for the league office is not we need to make the Utah Jazz better, or we need to make the Brooklyn Nets better. It's how do we have a system in place that teams are trying to win?
Mhm.
Like teams have to be trying to win, even if you are 15th on the standings. Each fan should have some sort of belief in the fact that teams are going out there to try to win.
Yeah.
The fact that it's even the psyche of a paying customer that, oh, this team might come in there to come and lose today. Oh, we got tickets for Toronto Raptors versus Brooklyn Nets. But I don't think this guy is going to play today. So we're not going to either show up or let's sell our tickets or whatever thing is. Listen to this. This is Tim Bontemps. He said, in much of the discussion of trying to fix tanking, the focus has been on trying to de-emphasize losing.
Mhm.
Each idea from removing the ability to protect picks in the middle of the draft lottery to abolishing the draft to completely flattening the odds, all would make it less desirable for teams to lose, which none of them have done, right? However, is push them to win. But this plan does. Currently, the order of the NBA draft lottery is determined by which teams have the most losses at the end of the regular season. But consider, at a certain point in the regular season, say the All-Star break, things would flip. And the rest of the season, a team's wins would go towards improving their lottery odds.
I
So
know that I've heard that a bunch of times where after, like you said, after the All-Star break, wins count towards your lottery
your lottery
odds,
odds.
which I don't think. I mean, there's obviously circumstances. You can gain that which way, whatever. But that is an interesting perspective because then you are rewarding winning, even if it's just in March and whatever, which everybody seems to care so much about. But
So think about
it
it.
is an interesting
Last
solution.
last year, last year, the Utah Jazz would have gone from number 1 to number 7 with the record they had after the All-Star break. The Wizards would have gone to 1. You're going to love this one. The Raptors would have gone to 2. The Raptors would have gone to 2. But I get this. This gets your products to all these teams are coming. Like you want to get better. You want a better future. Go try to win every game. So you're
Yeah.
playing the Lakers. You're playing the OKC Thunder. You're playing. It doesn't mean you are most likely going to lose all those games. But for you to know that every loss we have is going to decrease our lottery odds
Mm-hmm.
is Mayday for this
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
Let's go show out. Let's go show out and show up for our fans and try to win. As the fact of the matter is, most of these bad teams are still not going to get high totals of wins, but the highest total of all this is going to get rewarded. But it means that there's a certain level of effort and certain level of there'll be an unacceptable laissez-faire, because as you're losing, your fans are going to be like, bro, guys, you guys understand that we just dropped from 1 to 12. We will just drop from 1 to, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's about the product. It will always be about the product, not the Utah Jazz, not the Brooklyn Nets. No, it's about what this product, the NBA product is. And I love this idea because for me, at the start of the year, from January to April, 4 months of basketball. And you know what that means? You know what that means? Let me tell you what this means. You cannot wait to January to start winning, because that's not how to build winning habits. That's not how to be. We cannot just say, okay, man, once January starts, we're going to have to start winning our games. You're going to have to start creating the habits as a team. Once January comes, again, most of these bad teams are not going to win so many games. But it's about what they are going to put out there in terms of effort, in terms of how exciting games will be, in terms of the fact that now even the big teams know that I can't just come show up against the Wizards and expect them to just lay down for me when it gets to a 20-point game, because the Wizards and the coaching staff and the management and everybody are like, bro, if we lose this game, our odds are down. If we lose the next game, or think about a game versus Utah Jazz. Now the Wizards is playing Utah Jazz in April 2nd, last game of the season, and maybe they have equal record of wins. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's about how you boost these products, bro, not how the Utah Jazz can be better. I completely disagree, because these organizations just have this, we're always going to be here and all. And I just think that let's wins count towards your odds. Let wins count towards your odds, and you will see the beauty of competitiveness we're going to have in the sports.
No, yeah, I like that one. That one's definitely an interesting change. And I think that you're right. I think it wouldn't incentivize definitely trying much harder and not trying to lose on purpose, because there would be no reason to. But then maybe you can imagine that, like, hey, we'll just try to lose as much as we can in January before All-Star break and then after All-Star break. But I guess, yeah, you're right with habits and all that. It's not like you can just flip a switch. I mean, unless you don't play your actual players and you flip a switch by playing them.
He mentioned sorry. He mentioned something here that is very important for you to think about too. And sorry, I don't want to read through this whole thing. But he says, then take a young team such as Charlotte Hornets, a franchise that has been staffed for success for nearly 2 decades. Under the current system, if the Hornets makes a strong second half push and miss the playoffs, they likely will end up with a late lottery pick instead of a solid shot. So I see the Hornets as they should be, can you imagine? Think about it. If they win more and most likely come 9th, 10th, 8th, lose in the first round, they're most likely going to come back next season almost around the same place too. So why should their winning, why should we look at them trying to win as a bad thing? Because we are praising Utah for being smart. And obviously they are being smart because that's what the current system incentivizes and all. But in this system, Charlotte has a great second half of the season and win. And now that Charlotte team is getting an AJ DeBanter, an Andrew Peterson, or Carlos Boozer. Now that's serious. That is very serious, right? That is also a less time for a team to be losers. Because when these teams get a first round pick, when the Wizards gets a first round pick, when the Jazz is a different, because they really have good players too, right? When the Brooklyn Nets gets a first round, it's another 2 years of losing. We know that. It's another 3 years of losing. It's not like they're going to become winners, bro. It's not like they're going to become winners, right?
It is a process. I think it would definitely make teams want to speed up the team building process and not have a situation where it's just like, hey, we have this rookie, we're just gonna have a bunch of rookies. We're gonna have like the Brooklyn has literally had 5 rookies, and then whatever else doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, I definitely like that. I think the whole crux of this discussion is: do you think that teams' lottery odds should be tied with their losses? Because that's really it. Because if it is, then at the end of the day, losing helps you get a better draft pick. And that's just the hard truth of it.
Right.
We can do all these potential bandages or this or that. Teams will then eventually find another way to work it around where they're like, actually, we can do lose this way or lose after this date or lose earlier in the season. At the end of the day, if your draft uh selection is based on your losses this season, teams that are, don't have much of a, playoff chance or they have some injuries or something like that, they're going to look to the lottery and be like, "Hey, we're not that far off. Let's just keep losing more games." So yeah, I think that suggestion of wins actually mattering at a certain point would be very interesting. Or like I've heard some people say, completely severing wins and losses. I believe Zach Lowe has talked about on our podcast, and he did a feature on this like almost back in 2008, the draft wheel. I don't know if you heard about it,
No.
where it's like it would be basically making the lottery for the next 30 years. Over the next 30 years, your team will have a chance at every single pick. You will choose, 1 year you will choose first, another year you'll choose 30th, another year you'll choose 26. In I'm the Raptors, I know in 2047 we are
We're
choosing
going to the
first,
first.
and that's the only time we're going to choosing first the next 30
Oh,
years.
I like
So
that.
so whatever losing we do, it's completely fixed. Every single lottery pick is completely fixed for the next 30 years. And it's like
Mm,
spaced out so you don't have constant 30, 29, 28, 27. It's spaced out, I don't know, in some way where it's
yeah.
like somewhat equal. You're in the top 10, middle 10, bottom 10 at, relatively
But yeah,
equal moments and whatnot.
I really
Um,
like that.
that idea is interesting, but that one is like such a huge, like literally a 30-year thing where I don't know if they would ever do that. And then again, you can imagine a team that sucks right now and you're going to have the first pick in 20 years, but in the next 5 years your best pick is going to be 10. What do you do then? That's another thing, the hope factor. You know, we all the lottery teams, they hope for the first overall pick, because the way the lottery works. You can have 1% hope, 99% faith, whatever you can have in getting the top pick. And in that scenario, you would kind of be like, it would be a hard pill to swallow that, like, hey, we're going to have to trade our first overall pick 20 years from now in order to get better right now because there's nothing in the draft that's going to help us. However, it is a definitely an interesting idea, and it would like there would be no reason to lose games. There would be no reason to sit out players in the fourth quarters or anything like that because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do this year. We know our team is the 17th pick. We know our team is the third pick. We can go all out and try as hard as we can. We will still be rewarded for it, or we won't be
Yes,
rewarded for
yes,
it, or anything.
yes,
I think, at the end of the day, it's your philosophy on should you be rewarded for losing with a good player, or should you be cast to hell for losing forever, like the Sacramento Kings or the Nets or the Jazz or
yeah,
whoever else.
yeah.
Um, and then we didn't even mention the last selection, which is flattened odds for all lottery teams, which is like a complete three for all where, everybody has,
The same
I don't know, that
odds.
the same odds for the 14 teams, which, that's definitely one way. There's no reason for me to lose these games because at the end of the day, I'm already in the bottom 14. I have the best odds as anybody else. But,
Yeah.
you could get a situation where a team that's actually decent gets the number one overall pick and you just have to live with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we've talked more than enough about tanking as
Mm-hmm.
far as I'm concerned. I had some other, little news things here and there about the Nuggets struggles and the 76ers losing without Joel Embiid. Um, but I think we'll just get into our draft, and our
Yes,
draft
sir.
for today. To celebrate the rest of the NBA season, we've been criticizing here and there. We're going to look at some of the matchups that we're excited for. We're
Yes,
going to be
sir.
doing a draft. We're each going to be picking 5 teams. And the way it works is you will pick a matchup between 2 teams. And once that matchup is selected, you have to say what date it's on, or, if there's
Mhm.
multiple of those matchups, you have to say which date you'll choose. The other person cannot choose those 2 teams playing each other again. They can choose that one of those teams versus another team or whatever, but it cannot be the same matchup. And then once you select, for example, your first team, your 2 teams, your number 1 pick, you cannot choose another matchup with those 2 teams, just to give some diversity and variety.
Mhm.
So at the end of it, we'll each have 5 games with 10 different teams, and in total 10 games.
Yeah.
um this is a bit hard. I did go through the schedule. We both went through the schedule. This idea, by the way, I did steal it from Zach Lowe, but his guest that he had on, oh my god, I blanked on his name right
Um,
now.
I know who that
Um,
is. Uh,
Beck. His
Beck.
name is Beck.
Howard Beck.
Howard Beck. He had a poor performance. His first pick was whatever game Jason Tatum comes back to. We're not doing that. I didn't
Yeah.
like that. We're doing games on the schedule, and we gotta account for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll let you, Sam, have the first pick. Who is your first matchup, and why?
First pick, I am going Knicks versus Cavs, February 24th. February 24th, I think this will be the first
That's in
meeting.
that's in 2 days.
Yes, this will be their first meeting since Harden's trade
Mm,
happened. And I think it's very simple. These were the 2 teams we picked to make the finals at the start of the season. James,
conference finals.
conference finals, right? This was like both of you, yes, but both of you, I don't know how you guys are going to, both of you have to make the finals. It's that simple. Obviously,
That's true.
it's
That's
only one
true.
person that has to make it, but you get my gist. Both of
Mhm.
you have to make the finals, and that's the fact of the matter. And Harden's trade is a clear sign from the Cavs or the guys that they want to 1,000% make the finals and all. And they want to make the finals. Sorry, one second, I got a call. Yeah, yeah, they want to make the finals. That's clear. That's
Yeah.
1,000%. They want Donovan Mitchell to sign this thing. So it's a clear thing for the Knicks, who have been up and down these past few weeks and months.
Yeah.
How do we both weigh against each other? How does this new look Cavs look against the this? I like some of the Cavs moves. I'm not a big Harden guy, but I like the Keon Ellis move. I like the Dennis
Yeah.
Schroeder move. I like I like they have too many NPCs on their bench. Too many NPCs on their bench. This dude,
Mhm.
Schroeder, Keon Ellis, they bring a certain level of ferocity, tenacity, good
Mhm.
role players, and also can scale up, especially Dennis Schroeder, right?
Yeah.
So it's just both of us are going to have to make the finals. Both of us has a pressure on us to make the NBA finals. Can we deliver? I
Mhm.
want to see how these 2 teams stack. So that's my first choice.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I did write that down. However, that's not the pick that I thought you were gonna go with. I made my list based off thinking that you were gonna go Nuggets and OKC as one of your picks. I thought that was the
That was that
obvious
was my
first.
sec- that was my second pick.
I
That
thought that was the obvious first overall pick. However, I'm not gonna pick that either because why not? I'll go with what I wrote down. My first pick, March 12th. The Denver Nuggets play the San Antonio Spurs.
damn.
Wembenyama, Nikola Jokic, the Spurs, who are a better record than the Nuggets right now and have quite a bit of a gap in the Western Conference. Just that matchup, Wemby, Jokic, very possible that could be in the second round, whatever. That's a matchup that I want to see just based off that. How well is Wembenyama going to be able to guard Jokic? How is how the Nuggets as a team gonna stop Wembanyama and
Okay.
a Fox and a Castle and all of them. And I'm just very excited for that one. Like to have two bigs who are so skilled and are, at least on one side, Wembanyama is gonna have to guard Jokic. I'm very interested for that, how well that's gonna go. So yeah, that's my pick, my first pick.
I like that. My next pick is going to be March 16th, Lakers versus Houston. And this is the simple fact of this matchup. It's not even a matter of if this is so exciting to me and all. It's just going to be a final confirmation that the Lakers cannot beat any serious team and they're not going anywhere in the playoffs. Like it's just going to
Hmm.
be that's that for like it's just that simple. Like we can this team is just not good enough, man. They're not good enough.
Hmm.
Nothing is going to change that from now to the end of the season. You had a general manager who said, we got better by not making moves. He said, yeah, he said we got better by not making. We came out on camera to say that to
Yeah.
to thank God I'm not actually like a Laker faithful, like hometown based fan, because I was trying this man, bro. That's what he
Yeah.
said. So for me, the Lakers have to ask themselves, like, are we going to start showing up and actually showing us that we can compete against good teams? Because it's just
Hmm.
good teams and all. And because I think they can't, because this even for me is bigger than it's their next serious matchup, personally to me, especially in
Yeah.
the West. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't see how you guys hold up. I know I am I going to be surprised? I don't think I'm going to be surprised by what I see in that matchup.
Yeah.
But it's like it's like a nail in the coffin for Lakers fans. The whole NBA, this thing, like this is not a serious team. It's not a
Yeah.
serious team.
And they are right beside each other. Right now, I think they would be like the 4 or 5 seed matchup or
Uh-huh.
something like that, which I think would be a very interesting series because both of these teams are very flawed. And like, you can say all you want, like, I the way the Lakers are unserious, but man, the Rockets are right up there in terms of
True.
unseriousness.
True.
Like when they blew that lead against the Knicks, with their lack of real point guard play, with their horrendous sometimes clutch offense, um, that would be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have to choose which one I want to go with. Um, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma City Thunder and the Detroit Pistons
Mm.
on March 30th. They play on March 25th, which is in a few days. However, Shea is out for the next 2 weeks still, so
Yeah.
he's not going to be playing there. So I'm choosing March 30th matchup, which is a little bit late.
Are you?
However, I think both teams will still be playing in that one
Yeah.
because are you aware of the 40-20 rule? The famous Phil Jackson 40-20 rule, where in order to be a real NBA champion, you have to win 40 games before you have 20 losses.
Mm.
That is a rule that has been true for every single championship,
I heard about
except,
that.
let me see which one. Let me see. I have it here. The 40-20 rule, a team has to hit 40 wins before 20 losses. The famous rule for contenders. Since 1979 to 80, only 4 champions have failed to meet this mark. The 21 Bucks, the 2006 Heat, the 2004 Pistons, and the 95 Rockets. Outside of that, every other contender has won 40 games before 20 losses. This season, the Spurs just became a team that did that the other
Mm.
night. The other 2 teams are OKC and the Detroit Pistons. So if we're going on off historical accuracy, people can say all they want about the Pistons and all that, and I still have my concerns about them in the playoffs. But right now, that's the only real legitimate finals matchup here in which both teams could potentially win.
I
And
think
I am
outside of even that, this is an MVP game.
That is very true. That is something else that I want to put in my news because Jokic is only one game away from not playing to not be in consideration. Shea is out for another week. I don't know how many games he's missing, but he's getting there. I believe he has at least maybe like 7, 8 games, something like that, before he's not in consideration. In a nightmare scenario where neither Shea or Jokic can win the MVP, Cade is right up there. And
Yeah,
honestly, like
he has a case.
I he has a case. He has a case right now. He's already top 5 in MVP for me right now. I think he's like up there in the top 5. Um, and you're right. Yeah, if somehow Shea misses that many games, or even if he doesn't, and Jokic misses another game, for example, and Shea is still under the limit of games missed, that is an MVP matchup as well. And I'm very interested to see because Cade runs so much of the Pistons offense, and yet he still has so many turnovers. And we saw today in a game, the Cavs and OKC, where, oh my God, even without Shea and J Dub and AJ Mitchell and whoever, they can turn the ball over on Mitchell and Harden
Yep.
like crazy. So I'm very interested to see how Cade will handle that. And he's already like kind of prone to turning the ball over a bunch. Um, but yeah, I think that matchup will be very fun, choosing the March 30th one, because it'll be more fun if likely Shea will be playing in that game.
Yeah, completely agree. I think that's some MVP. I think more I am looking at that game just for that MVP race and what's the show Cade can put out there and see how you can like competing against that defense makes a case for you. It's gonna if you have a great game against that defense and all. Um, does my video keep cutting or something?
No, no, it's been
Okay,
looking
no,
good.
okay, sure. Sorry, I thought my video was cutting. Because I keep receiving calls. Yeah. So, Cage performing against that defense, coming off just the game he had against the Knicks, just makes a case for him. It's a great case. It's going to stay in people's minds. It's end of March too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's going to stay in people's mind and going to be, and the Detroit Pistons are the first seed. They're going to most. I
Mhm.
don't know, they're going to be the first seed in the
They
East.
are the first seed in the East.
That
There's
is
no doubt about
insane.
it.
That is
And
insane.
defensively, like you got Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart versus Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, like double big potential.
And what's his name?
Asar Thompson
Pastor
versus
Thompson and
Shea,
Pastor Shea, and also there's another kid on there that is really good defensively.
Ron Holland.
Ron Holland. Ron
Mm-hmm.
Holland. Ron Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give you one. This one you're not going to believe where it came from. I can't even believe I came up with it, but I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
This team has been on the run. This team has been
Okay.
on the run. And I'm
Okay.
like, we need this team to just be in a playoff setting. If we've been complaining about products and all, one of the most exciting team in the league
Mm-hmm.
by far
Yeah.
is the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
And I am picking this matchup specifically because of what it means for seeding, not because this
Okay.
matchup is exciting and all. It's more, can we really get to the point where this team is going to be right now? I think they are ninth in the standings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at this right now, and all the Charlotte Hornets are 10th in standings.
Yeah.
They are 2 games out of 8, 4 games out of 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next matchup that I am looking at is the one specifically against not they're playing the Bulls. That's winnable. Pacers,
Yeah.
winnable. Portland, winnable. The next matchup they play is specifically against an East team that I think they can beat is obviously the Miami Heat. So that's March 6th. And I'm looking at this range of games they have. By that time they have the game against Miami, we could be in a situation where they're 8th, they're 7th,
Mm-hmm.
and all. And Miami and them are going to be struggling along for those playing positions. So I'm looking forward to that because I think we all deserve a Hornets in the playoffs, just straight up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And how
I
exciting
agree.
that will be watching them and all. Yeah.
I agree. I agree completely. Definitely. The Hornets, but I think it's almost like a guarantee with the way the East, like the bottom teams, even the Bucks, like they're not going to be able to climb above the Hornets, and then the Bulls and all that. might be losers for the long run.
Yeah.
Um, this one I'll choose. This one is one that I thought of. I'm like, as you mentioned, an unserious team. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, in a playoff rematch, in a game where you have Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards, the Wolves and Lakers on March 10th.
I already picked the Lakers, bro.
No, but I could pick the Lakers. I just can't pick the Lakers and the Rockets.
I thought the rule was you can't pick the team you've already picked.
You can't pick this team that you already picked.
Oh, you can. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
like
okay,
I
okay,
I
okay.
can't choose the Nuggets in any other game, but
Fair
obviously
enough.
you can have a Nuggets game.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because
Fair
I
enough.
was
Fair
I was
enough.
getting scared because you were talking about the Hornets and I have a Hornets game on my list, but so you can't choose multiple of the same team's games,
Okay, okay.
but
I missed that part.
because obviously we would be really grasping for straws for actual
Yes,
good teams.
yes, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, but I will be choosing the Wolves and the Lakers because I mean they played in the playoffs last year. I remember you, Dye, you guys were like, Luca, LeBron, they got these guys figured out. They'll win in 5, they'll win in 6. I don't even remember what it was. I think the Wolves won in 5, but I remember I was on the Wolves side. I don't know if this game is going to be that competitive. However, when it comes down to Luca and his first quarter blitz, which is my most annoying thing and favorite thing about him, where he has these great first quarters and then just dicks around for 2 quarters and just trolls and takes these horrible shots. However, I think Anthony Edwards, he's the type of player where he like matches and wants to match the other person's energy, like we saw with him and Yama. Like we saw, I think he said he had 40 points in that game against who was it recently that he had 40 points again. But
This,
anyway, in what?
it was just the last game before this.
Yeah. He had 40 points, but he said in the post game interview, he said he heard or he saw how Cade got 40 points. So he's like, if Cade got 40 points, I got to get 40 points.
Yeah,
I really hope that energy between him and Luca will happen in that game, and we just get just a shootout between both of them.
yeah.
I think that could be a fun game, but also a potential blowout game because I don't know how you guys stop Rudy Gobert, but also Rudy and Luca, the history that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would just be a fun one.
I agree. Um, you picked. I am going the Denver Nuggets. When is Shea back?
Like I checked, I think he's gonna be reevaluated in like a week or two now.
A week or two. Okay, that
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So you might want to pick one of the later day ones just to be
Nah,
safe.
just to be safe. That's fair. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go April 10th. OKC versus Denver.
Mm.
Seeding is going to be very important around this time. And personally, you look at the East, the West seeding. To be fair, maybe it's not even that important. I think probably
Yeah, yeah,
the match ninth game is going to be even more important. The Denver Nuggets are my pick to make the finals, right?
mhm,
This is a very important game to just show where they're at. They've not been playing well, lost 6 out of 9, I believe.
yeah,
And it's just like where are you guys? What's happening? I know you guys are
yeah,
injured and all, but is this something that we need to be worried about? Is this something?
mhm,
And again, the best matchups always show up with the best teams and all. And it doesn't mean you win this game, right? It just means
yeah,
let's see where you are at right now.
yeah.
I know,
You
right?
play to the level of them, you
Yes,
know?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
So the Denver now, I want to see where is Jokic physically, where all these things are really important. Like, as their health getting better. So this will be in another 17 days. So let's say in 2 weeks. Is AG back? Do you guys have Cam Johnson back? Christian Brown? Is everyone? If everyone is back, okay, let's see. But let's just see where you guys are at. And
mhm,
yeah, we're going to keep on watching games before then and all. But with Denver,
yeah,
I'm not too worried. Only just because there's already proof of concept. You know what they are going to do. You know what kind of team they are. But
yeah,
again, this is against the team you most likely will have
The
to beat.
big dog.
This is
This
the
you
team,
got to get past them to win.
this is the team that you're most likely going to have to beat and all. I
Hmm.
don't think they are scared of any other team. Doesn't mean the other teams can't beat them, but they know this is the team that are going to have to face to beat them also. That will be very interesting to watch.
Hmm. No, that's a great pick. Yeah, that one. I agree. The March 10th. That's literally like the last day of the season. I think at that point, unfortunately,
Yeah.
OKC might like not play their stars or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good pick. My next one. This is a fun one. This is one that was on the pod with Zach Lowe. He chose this one, and I was like, "Wow, that's a really good pick." I didn't think about that because we're just picking the good contending teams. We got to pick some of these a little bit of bottom feeders,
Mm-hmm.
but the Hornets and Con Knipple versus Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks play on
Mm.
March 3rd,
Rookie of the
and
year.
their first matchup, Rookie of the Year matchup,
No,
and their first.
that's not their first matchup.
No, I'm saying, but their first matchup was so good, like it was such a
Oh
good
yes,
game,
yes, yes, yes,
and
yes,
Flag
yes,
had
yes.
a great game. I don't remember how didn't he have 40 points or something like
40,
that?
almost, he had almost 50. I think he has almost 50.
Right. Yeah, I
And
think he had 48 or
yeah,
something, and then Khan
Knipple
had
has
like
like
30
38 or something like
something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and then I don't know if you saw in like a recent not an interview, but it was like Cooper Flag, he was at like some card shop or whatever, and he bought $7,000 worth of Con Knipple rookie cards or something like that. Um yeah, these guys, I'm just hoping for another a rookie
That
showdown.
game,
And
that
like
game was great.
that game was a really great game, and with the Hornets, the way that they play, obviously, with how fast they play, and the Mavericks, I find that the Mavericks are in a lot of close games,
Close
and when they
games.
have Cooper Flag, I mean, he is out right now. March 3rd is coming up pretty quickly, but hopefully he'll be there. And this Rookie of the Year race is much. It's not just Flag all the way. If you want to pick Con Knipple right now, I wouldn't be mad at you. So I just think that would be a very interesting matchup
No,
that they got there.
I completely agree. I completely agree. This one is March 15th. We're going to have the Detroit Pistons versus the Toronto Raptors. And for me, it's about seeding. It's about seeding. It's about where do the Raptors stack? You know? Where do the Raptors stack?
No, please.
Where do the Raptors
We
stack?
did this recently. It didn't end well, bro.
And that's why you need to show up again. You got beaten up. You got
Yeah.
beaten up and all. You have to come back and take your punches, man. How much did you guys lose? Yeah, you guys lost by like 15 or 18 against them. But again,
Yeah.
it's going to matter regarding seeding. We need like a lot of these matchups are exciting for me, only even on the sense of not even because, oh, I want to see these two teams face off. It's because what does this mean for seeding and all? The Raptors should not be, they must make top six. Like you are such in a great
Yeah.
position. I
For
picked them to
sure.
make top six this year and all. So considering that they've had a great season, in my opinion, right? So
Yeah.
it's about the Pistons are the big dogs now. Let us compete against them and show up against them. So I'm looking forward to that for the Raptors.
Yeah. That's a good one. Personally, I stayed away from any Raptors games just because I know how offensively I do not trust them to have an entertaining performance on most nights.
Yeah.
Um, defense most likely.
Yeah.
And then my last pick here, this is hard because this is two teams where I'm like, one game I think is coming up too soon, but one game is too late. However, I think I'll go Knicks Celtics on April 9th because if Jason Tatum is coming back this season, he's going to have to play by April for sure.
I don't buy his comment.
I think he is. He has like a commercial out. There was like a commercial that he's in for some like medical thing where he's like holding his crutches, and then at the end of it or whatever, it's like he's like being announced in the starting lineup for some game or something like that. And then he had that all-star in between like games 3 and 4. They had a whole like 2-3 minute little documentary thing about getting his recovery back and all that. I think Tatum is coming back. My other matchup was Cavs Celtics, but that one is March 8th. That one I'm just scared to pick because I think that'll be too soon. I just don't trust it. But that game actually would be still pretty decent
I'll be pretty
because
decent.
you know, the Celtics are still really good.
Really
But
good.
I'll be choosing Knicks Celtics April 9th because by golly, if Jason Tatum is coming back, he will be back by the end of April. And honestly, like seeding wise, that also might be an interesting game. Because well, actually, I don't know where the Knicks are right now. The Knicks, they are actually only a game behind. They are 2 losses behind the Celtics. Uh the Celtics are 37-19 and the Knicks are 37-21. So, you know, if they keep winning, I expect them to still be close. That could potentially be a seeding thing.
Yes.
Either way, that will be a good game, I believe, to near cap off the end of the season. And that's a draft. I think it was fun. I think we got some good matchups. Let's just go through our top five. I'll go first. My five were Nuggets Spurs on March 12th, Wemby and Jokic. OKC and the Pistons, March 30th, MVP matchup, finals preview. Wolves Lakers, March 10, Ant and Luca, shenanigans. Hornets Mavs, March 3rd, Rookie of the Year race. And then Knicks Celtics April 9th seeding. And also Tatum will probably be back. And the Knicks, this was your year. This is your year to make the finals. And
Yeah.
the Celtics might still beat you. Who knows? So those are my five.
My number one is going to be Knicks versus Cavs. Um, yeah, clear reason why, as I've spoken about, I'm interested in what's
What day is that again?
on February 24th. So
Two
yeah,
days.
2 days. So I want to see how this new looks Cavs stack against the Knicks. And the Knicks, you gotta show up. Gotta
Yeah.
show up. Second is Denver versus OKC. Third
Mhm.
is Hornets versus Heat. Very interested in where the Hornets end and all. Next is Raptors versus Pistons. And last is Lakers versus Houston because I think I know what I'm going to see. So I'm not,
Yeah.
it's not like, yeah, I think I know what I'm going to see. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are our picks for the
Yeah.
season. We can talk all we want about the draft and losing and all that, but there are still good games to look forward to.
Yes, sir.
It's not going to involve anybody from the bottom half of the East or the Pelicans or the Kings or whoever, but there are still a lot of great matchups and great games. And like, for example, the Nuggets OKC play 3 more times, I believe, which is going to be very interesting to see. Um, the Pistons and OKC still play 2 more times. That's going to be
Mhm.
very interesting to see, as we've said. But yeah, another great pod. A little bit of negative, a little bit of positive. Looking forward to the end of the season.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
excited. When it comes, we'll have awards episode and play in and then playoff
Playing.
episode.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm so excited for the
I'm
playoffs.
excited, man. I'm excited.
We might have to double up, go 2 times a week to talk about all these games.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll
Who
see.
knows? Yeah, man.
But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, listen
Thank you,
on
guys.
YouTube, Spotify. Go like the Reels and the TikTok shorts and all that, the YouTube shorts, whatever. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for
And
watching.
take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye.